Hello, Michele Tittler from the political organization and race-based law. I'm wearing a headdress. I'm hoping to cause absolute outrage in the Aboriginal communities across Canada for wearing this headdress because although I'm Canadian with Ukrainian and Austrian ancestry, I'm not supposed to wear this. I'm not allowed to wear this because the Aboriginals go crazy when anyone wears a headdress if they're not an actual chief. And I'm wearing this out of protest for what the Aboriginals are doing to offend anyone in Canada who is not Aboriginal with their dialogue. The Aboriginals are so busy being offended by everyone else, being professional victims at every turn, that they've never stopped to recognize the abusive dialogue that their race-based agendas have created over the years that's so offensive. It's beyond offensive, the dialogue that has been cultivated over the years due to race laws, due to the corrosive attitudes and sense of supremacy and entitlement that's really grown over the last 30 years since race laws were introduced in our Constitution in 1982. It's become a horrible, horrible dialogue from the Indian industry, and it's all about blame so that they can extort from innocent taxpayers, and that's what this video is about. This headdress represents, lovely don't you think, my protest against the dialogue from the Aboriginal, the Indian industry. From the dialogue itself is quite clearly been cultivated to immerse the new youth, Native youth, into this corrosive blame game dialogue so that lawyers and lobbyists can continue this blame game against Canada. And I'm standing here to tell you that Canada are individual human beings who just happen to be not your race. And the fact that you're using your race, all of you Aboriginals, any of you leaders, any of you chiefs, Derek Nebenak, Pam Palmater, Chief Stuart Phillip, all of you people who are using your race to stand up against Canada as though Canada is the enemy, you have to stop doing that. You have to stop doing that. There was no genocide. There was no genocide. Smallpox and bubonic plague happened to hundreds of millions of people, died from those diseases. 1 in 3 people, one in 3 people died of these diseases. It wasn't just the natives. There was no genocide in Canada. We can't say it enough over and over. You have to stop abusing us, Canadians. You have to stop taking us to court all across the country. You have to stop being the least productive, the least contributing, the least respectful group of people in Canada. There are people from all around the world here in Canada who make it work, and make it work well. We're working hard towards, we're striving towards something that we think is beautiful and we're striving towards. It's democracy, it's freedom of speech, it's people being able to walk out of their homes and not be harassed or bullied, to be able to feel safe in their environment. This is what we're about in Canada. We have values, we have Charter of Rights, and your native dialogue, your race-based agendas are not only racist, it's all racism. You're so racist it's unbelievable. You're the most racist dialogue and people in the nation. No question about it. Nobody comes close to you. You have no right calling anyone else racist ever, ever. That's what this represents. Your dialogue is so offensive. And you have the gall to get online and attack anyone, everyone, and call everyone a racist for not respecting you. Well, you don't seem to respect anyone else. You know, you have this dialogue of colonialism in Canada, and yet you don't really know what that means. You really don't. You can't define it. You just know it isn't you. But you don't get, I live in Vancouver. Here in Vancouver we have people from all around the world, and this Canada is not something from the past, it's something towards the future. We are actually building this culture and this country as we go along. And the only people who are holding it back and trying to destroy it are you, natives, and the leaders. It's unbelievable that you could call this all your land. It's such a cruel, vile, divisive, repugnant and disgusting dialogue, telling people that they're on stolen land, has to be the most abusive thing that anyone could possibly say to anyone in Canada. Don't you get that people who came here centuries ago, and even the people who are coming here now, and everyone in between, came here because they had a dream? They were adventurers that really wanted to build a better world. They came from places where they thought things could be better here. And we have indeed built a fantastic country. I don't know why you want to hold that back, hold progress back. The people of Canada have tried very hard to respect Native culture, to incorporate it into our world, the same way we incorporate each other's ethnic diversity and the traditions and even the philosophies and religions. We're all sharing together. It's a really wonderful, wonderful experiment to be in Canada and be a part of learning from each other from around the world. Why the natives feel the need to segregate themselves, it's only ever them doing that. No one is oppressing them. Canada does not oppress the natives. They oppress Canada with this racist dialogue. The rest of Canada is thriving, running free with this idea that we have democracy here and that we can grow companies and ideas and innovation and take care of our own and educate our children and have healthy lives and a healthy healthcare system. We do have healthy lives in this country. And the natives, they do indeed tax our healthcare system, and they don't pay into it as much as everyone else does. We hear natives all the time lamenting about how, oh, I pay taxes, but really we know that on reserves, and where the chiefs are who are fighting our country, they don't pay taxes. And they're not contributing to this country. Indeed, they're fighting this country continuously, acting as if the enemy. Pound Palmater actually had the audacity, the gall, the ignorance, the racism, the racist bullying to say, why doesn't Canada just come right out and declare that they're at war with us? Who's us, Pam? Your race? Everybody else here makes it work. That's what this represents. Again, I want to remind you, this represents your racism, your segregation, your divisiveness. You make everyone have to have the conversation of us and them. No one else is doing that. No one else does that. We have hundreds of races in this country and no one else does that but the Aboriginals. Why? It's their racism. It's their problem. Residential schools were just the schools. You can't talk about your own incest problems. You can't talk about your own abuse problems, but you sure can't stop projectile vomiting up the residential school sexual abuse, which we know there are a lot of lies, a lot of lies. A lot of good came out of those schools. You can't seem to say thanks. There's no balance in your dialogue. You take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 incidences and make them 7,000. It's wrong. Your dialogue, your initiatives, your every move is about being the enemy to everyone who is not your race. It's terrible what you're doing to people. This is a beautiful country. We've all dreamed big dreams. I know that my grandparents, when they came from Europe, that's what they were doing. They were just peasants. They were farmers. You are actually attacking the very heart of this nation, our culture, and the progress of mankind. This is a very progressive country. We are ahead of the pack. Don't you dare start insulting any more of us when it comes to your anti-colonialism, your decolonializing thing, okay? It's this video camera, it's the computer, it's everything that has made your lives comfortable. Stop attacking innovation. We solve problems by innovation, by thinking clearly, rationally, and solving problems. We don't solve problems by protesting and saying no to industry. You have to stop attacking industry in Canada. You have to stop attacking our culture. No one is doing that to you. You just have to either join the human race or declare that you really are the racist thugs that we're seeing you be. during Idle No More, holding up mining, holding up sea and rail. You know, you've broken the treaties so many times. You do not honor those treaties in any way, shape, or form. It's such a joke when we get online and we have to listen to the natives lie. By the way, you're a lying culture. You have a lying problem. In the very beginning of Idle No More, a year and a half ago when I started this, I saw all the lying going on, but I just didn't feel confident coming right out and saying, you are a lying culture. Now I can say with absolute conviction, it is part of your culture to lie. You do that oral history thing really well these days. You've dishonored your ancestors. I don't believe your ancestors were liars. I know your recent culture, the Indian industry. It's just a complete attack on anyone not your race, mostly white people. You think Canada's white. That's what's so bizarre. And you don't even know what white is. It's a combination of, is it Italian? Is it Turkish? Is it Swedish? Is it Russian? Like, what is white? Come to Vancouver. You'll find out what we are here in Canada. We're a very progressive area here where we have Asians, all sorts of Asians. East Indians, and that's a humongous country, and there are East Indians all from all over the place here. Many, many, many cultures, and we make it work. We celebrate each other. It's a beautiful thing. Why can't the Aboriginals get on board? It's been 500 years. Everyone else seems to be able to come here and get that we're going somewhere in this country, and you can't. It's just enough now. You're extorting off of innocent taxpayers. Your language, your dialogue is, it's sickening, it's immature, it's childish, it's ridiculous. I mean, we have nothing but proof of the immensely offensive dialogue coming from the Aboriginal communities, and that's what this headdress represents. You must stop talking to Canadians the way that you do. We're a wonderful country, we're a wonderful group of people, and you are holding us back. You are oppressing us with your dialogue, with your racism, with your blame game. It's an extortion, and you're thugs. You people who are heading up and teaching your people, you're not gonna, you have no way of bringing clean water to anyone. You have to stop talking about the environment and the land as if you know how to bring clean water to anybody. It's the professionals in those industries who are actually the people who know how to bring clean water to people. You're not the problem solvers, you're just the racist, bullying extortionists. Once again, I want to remind you all what this headdress means. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Aboriginals. They are disrespectful to us, and I am sick and tired of it. So many of us are in Canada. Nobody seems to have the guts to say much about it because they get called a racist, which is how the Aboriginals wield that weapon, those words. They own the dialogue. And we're going to take the dialogue back now. We have voices too. We have a right to be heard. We're offended beyond measure that people could live their entire lives, work so hard to pay mortgages. You don't even know the stories, the individual stories of people who made their mortgages every month, come hell or high water, had to sacrifice things, maybe their daughter's grad dress, tears, and I mean also you, Aboriginals, could take us to court. You get the money for free from that very taxpayer who could not afford his daughter's grad dress. You take us to court, us being innocent taxpayers. When you make Canada your enemy, it's just people who happen to be not your race. And it's wrong. And we're asking you to care about other people who are not your race. You're so racist. You're so ruthless to people who aren't your race. It's unbelievable. And you attack anyone who dares challenge it. And you call them a racist. You know, this whole colonialism thing, you don't know what the hell that is. You guys just sound ridiculous. You're babies, you're sissies. Everyone who came here, they lost their languages, they lost their culture, and they lost their traditional lands. You didn't. Your land is still here. There's enough for everyone, and you can't stop bitching. You can't stop complaining. You can't stop. You have to stop. We are a mix of so many people now. You sound ridiculous beyond measure. It's now time for you to get into the trenches and to deal with your own racism issues, to deal with your own abuse issues, to deal with your own issues, to pay for that yourself, to pay for your own education, to pay for your own culture advancing itself. Many beautiful cultures here. Learn about them. Learn about their ancestry, learn about their histories. Stop talking about yourselves all the time. You're constantly on a race-based agenda, whereas the rest of Canada, we're all about everyone from around the world. We're all about all of us, and that includes the Aboriginals. So get on board. That's where it's at. That's what it is to be Canadian. Our true north, strong and free. Our culture, our democracy, our way of life. Come along with it. You're very, very primitive. Our past all come from primitive dictatorships too. But now we're advanced and we're here. And that's what makes Canada such a great country, is that we can vote and we can decide on things in a democratic way. We don't vote on race, and we don't vote on heredity. We don't vote on heredity. We've come a long way from that. We have property rights now, so people can't just say, oh, my great-great-great-great-great-grandmother used to live here, and so this is mine. Okay, you have to stop doing that to us. It's not your land. It's ours, all of ours. Stop abusing Canadians. Stop abusing Canadians with your racist bullying, dear natives of Canada. End race-based law.